Um, so the topic today is yes, losing weight during the menopause and perimenopause. It's like I said, something that comes up quite often for me. It's obviously not something I've experienced myself, um, but I have helped lots of women through that period and had fairly good results with that. So I kind of know what I'm talking about, despite not having experienced it myself. So hopefully that will some of this information is going to be useful to you guys. So obviously, when you hit menopause, your the whole thing is instigated by your hormonal balance changing, and primarily that's estrogen, and you're going to hear that word a lot during this session because that's the primary hormone that changes and has a massive impact actually on other hormones in your body, which hopefully I'll be explaining a little bit later. I don't want to go into massive scientific detail and everything here. One, because I probably wouldn't understand it, and secondly, you might not understand it. And quite frankly, you don't need to know that. What you need to know is what you do about those things. So, like I said, most of the issues that you'll get will either be directly influenced or indirectly influenced by your estrogen levels, which obviously reduces during perimenopause and menopause. So the first thing that happens with that, and again, this is caused by your reduced estrogen levels, is that your metabolism slows down. And this isn't just estrogen, but that's one of the main instigators of it. So as your estrogen levels decline, your metabolism slows down, which then obviously makes weight management a bit more of a challenge. You're not burning so many calories per day, so if you're still eating those same number of calories, you're storing it. Now, on top of that, estrogen also influences where your body stores fat. Now, any calories that we consume that we don't use get stored in our bodies as fat. Now, what estrogen does is then it shifts the areas that it puts that fat into. So it changes it from wherever it used to store it to the fat into being particularly around the abdomen, which is again, you may have noticed that already. That's where you will tend to be gaining weight, um, and that's where you'll notice your body shape changes as well. So what we've got to try and do is counterbalance that hormonal change, and the way we do it with this particular aspect is by looking at our nutrition. So this is looking at our the omega-3 fatty acids that we're eating, and it's looking at staying hydrated, and that will help balance these things up a little bit. It won't fix it. There's no fixes to any of this without going down the medical route. There's no fixes. All we're trying to do is manage these things. And a way to manage that in this instance would be, like I said, with a really healthy diet, loads of omega-3 fatty acids, and loads of fluids, water. So, for example, your breakfast could be something like a Greek yogurt, which is a high protein yogurt. It's got healthy fats in it, and it's got fibre in it. And then if you had berries and nuts with that too, that'd be a really healthy breakfast that will help regulate your hormones throughout the day. And then obviously there's other options for meal times, lunch, dinner, that kind of thing, and your snacks if you're having snacks. And then for hydration, obviously it's just a case of drinking water, as much water as you can sensibly throughout the day. At least 8 glasses, and I'd say probably you want to increase that possibly during menopause. And that's a really simple tactic. It's easy to do, and obviously if you can carry around a reusable water bottle, there's no excuse really not staying hydrated. But on top of that, the other thing that estrogen does is it will impact other hormones. So it impacts insulin and cortisol, and that's going to have a massive impact on our eating habits. And this is where it gets really messy. So your insulin sensitivity will decrease, and that affects how our body processes sugars. And your cortisol level, which is a stress hormone, that tends to increase, or will have these sort of spikes. So we are not processing sugar very well, and then we've got higher stress level, which often then will lead to sugar cravings and emotional eating. So these two hormones working together, which has this massive influence on your relationship with food. So the cortisol causes you to feel stressed. When people are stressed, often they turn to emotional eating. When you emotionally eat, you don't tend to eat healthy food. You don't go for carrot sticks. You go for the chocolate biscuits or the chocolates or the crisps and that kind of thing. And often you find that you're craving sweeter foods. So it is the chocolates and things like this. Your body then doesn't process the sugar very well because your insulin levels are low. So you still feel stressed because the cortisol's still high, and so you emotionally eat again, and then you're craving that sweet food. So you've got this cycle. So you're stressed, you emotionally eat, you crave the sweet food. Your body doesn't process the sugar, so you feel stressed, and then you emotionally eat, and then you crave the sweet food, and it just repeats and repeats and repeats. And then on top of that, again, like we said just now, your estrogen is lowered your metabolism. So all these extra calories that you're eating and the extra sugar that you're not processing very well, it's getting stored as fat, um, is impacting on all that as well. So your slow metabolism, you've got storing fat around the abdomen, which again then will get you stressed. Then your cortisol levels go up, and then you've got this even bigger circle of events that's happening. So it's really difficult to manage that. But one of the ways you can manage that, one is to track all your foods that you are eating and track them as accurately as you can, and track every single thing that you eat. Because none of this changes the calorie deficit rules. If you are in a calorie deficit, you will lose weight. Okay? So if you're tracking your calories and you know that you're hitting 1800 calories a day, as an example, and you're gaining weight, even if that's what you've eaten all your life, if your metabolism is slowed down, let me start again. Let's say your metabolic rate, your daily calorie requirement is 1800 calories, and you're eating 800 calories, then you are not losing weight, you're not gaining weight, you're staying exactly the same. If your metabolism slows down, and now your metabolism only needs 1500 calories per day, but you're still eating 800, you're eating 300 calories per day too many. So you need to reduce your calorie intake to balance it back up again. It needs to be 1500, same as your expenditure. Now none of that changes. None of that changes. Hormones don't change that balance. They might change the metabolism, the number of calories, but don't change that balance. When that balance is maintained, you're still going to lose weight. You're certainly not going to start putting it on. And that's what you need to be looking at, is tracking everything that you're going in. If you know that you're eating 800 calories but you're gaining weight, well, you need to try eating 1600 calories. And if you're eating 1600 calories and you're still gaining weight, you need to go down to 1500 calories. And you need to make sure you're tracking that accurately. If you're not tracking accurately, you might be eating 2000 calories thinking you're hitting 1500, and you just won't be. I will say there is a metabolic rate calculator on my website, so I will put the link in the comment of this just so that it's there if you want to use it. That's really good. It's a very accurate equation, and it will give you a target daily calorie intake to hit based on your age, gender, and your activity levels and things like this. So look at that. But I'll put that in the comments. Where was I? So yeah, so your stress levels are mindful eating. So this is where we can start looking at things like mindful eating. Now I do go on about mindful eating quite a lot. If you've watched any other videos that I've done, you'll probably notice that I mention it. So mindful eating, when I first heard about it, I thought it was some kind of like hippie nonsense, but it's really not. And it's just about paying attention to what you're eating and paying attention to what goes in your mouth. It's trying to not listen to those things which say, "Oh, I fancy a snack right now," is justifying that. Saying, "I fancy a snack. Do I need a snack? No, then I'm not going to have one." And again, this is where if you're tracking your calories, you can see that as well. You can look at your calorie intake and go, "I fancy a snack. I've got 300 calories left in my budget today, so I'm going to have a snack." Or, "I fancy a snack. I have no calories left in my budget today. I can't have one. Fine." It's also a case of listening to your body in terms of its fullness cues. So quite often when we sit down and eat, we kind of just get into that eating mode, and you're not listening to your body. And often you're not really paying attention even to the food that you're eating. And sometimes it's if you slow yourself down a little bit, chew for a bit longer, and kind of take into account the textures of the food and the real flavours that you can get, often that will trigger your cues earlier. So you might find just by listening and sort of asking yourself, do I need this extra bit of food? Do I want that? Do I want any more of this? Often you'll find that you'll eat less anyway. So practice mindful eating, and that's just being mindful. It's the opposite of mindless eating. It's the opposite of emotional eating. It's eating things that you need to when you need to, and stopping when you're full, not when your plate's empty necessarily. Um, so that's enough about diet. Let's look at exercise, because diet's only half of this equation, if you like. So exercise is always going to be important. I can't sort of say that enough. Um, in this instance, we're not necessarily looking at the calorie expenditure of it, which you would often be looking at. You'd be looking at from a weight loss perspective, the amount of calories that you burn during exercise, or the amount of um, lean tissue, muscle that you can put on them, which is metabolically active, which then burns more calories in your day-to-day life, increases your basal metabolic rate. But today we're going to look at something else, and again, it comes back to that estrogen levels again. Um, Estrogen has this really sort of crucial role in maintaining bone density, and it supports the activity of bone forming cells, and it stops bone breakdown. And you may not know this, I don't think many people probably do, but your body is constantly breaking bone tissue down all the time. Um, it's called bone remodeling or skeletal change, and so basically what it does is if it didn't happen, things like your knees, for example, they get a lot of wear and tear. They would just get broken and broken and broken and broken, and they wear down, there'd be nothing left. So what your body's doing is, as it's all being broken down and your body actively breaks bone tissue down, it replaces it with brand new bone tissue. Now, unfortunately, when you get older, when you hit the menopause and your estrogen levels come down, your body stops doing that so efficiently. So you still get the wear and tear on the bones, you still get a little bit of bone degradation anyway, it will break down anyway as part of your body's natural functions, but it's not repairing it as well. So because your bones aren't rebuilding themselves as well as they should, this reduces your bone density, and that makes them more prone to conditions like osteoporosis, osteoarthritis, and fractures, which would be osteoporotic fractures generally. So to counteract that, we need to look at incorporating strength training and load-bearing exercise into your fitness programs, which you may already have. If you don't, you should be bringing them in. So resistance exercise stimulates the bone-forming cells, and then they help to maintain or increase your bone density, which then reduces the chances of your osteoporosis, your osteoarthritis, and your osteoporotic fractures. So it's not just about weight loss; it's about improving that bone density and the quality of that bone, and that's going to offset those age-related conditions, and ultimately is going to improve your quality of life, hopefully for years to come. So try to dedicate 2 or 3 days a week to strength training exercises. It could be something simple like squats, lunges, push-ups, that kind of thing. If you've got access to a gym or dumbbells or whatever you've got at home, even better. If you don't know what you're doing with that kind of stuff, obviously, well, either ask me or ask somebody at your local gym, whatever. If that's not something you're familiar with, don't just dive into it. Get advice on it first. And obviously, just staying active generally as we get older is just good advice, good solid advice anyway. So that could be cycling, it could be walking, it could be hiking at the weekends or along the rivers, it could be classes at your local gym. Whatever it is, find something that you enjoy doing and that you're going to keep on doing. And if you can do that as part of a social group, fantastic. If you can join the local walking club or hiking club, whatever you've got locally, then you've got that little bit of accountability to make sure you keep on going as well. Finally, we're going to talk about sleep. Now, sleep is it's absolutely vital for everybody. The recovery that you get during sleep, obviously, is when your body repairs any damage that's happened throughout the day, and that ultimately is what we do when we exercise. And exercise basically damages our bodies, and then your body makes them stronger so that it doesn't get damaged as much next time. That's a really bad explanation of it, but that's basically what's happening. Now, estrogen, again, our good friend estrogen has got a massive part in this. Not directly this time. So lowered estrogen will disrupt our sleep patterns. That disruption then imbalances our hunger hormones, which are ghrelin and leptin. Ghrelin is the thing that makes us feel hungry, and leptin is the thing that makes us feel full. So when we don't get enough sleep, our ghrelin levels rise and your leptin levels drop. So you've got this kind of perfect storm of feeling more hungry and not then feeling satisfied with the food you're eating because the leptin levels are too low or lower, and then also you're going to get weight gain because you're inadvertently eating more because you don't necessarily feel full. again, if you're tracking your calories, this really shouldn't be an issue. It should still be on that within that calorie deficit or that calorie balance, um, regardless of these. But these things then impact all this, so it's not quite as easy just saying stick to a calorie deficit. So good quality sleep is absolutely vital. If you're trying to lose weight, or if you're just trying to stop that weight gain going on, your sleep. I know that sounds silly, but sleeping is probably one of the most important things you can do at this time, just to balance those hormones out. Um, that should regulate your ghrelin and your leptin levels. It will hopefully keep them closer to their optimal levels, which then should reduce appetite, and then should give you more accurate fullness cues as well. So we can get all that back in balance and back in sync. You're you're at least fighting the battle in the right way, rather than fighting a losing battle. And all of this still is about that calorie deficit. So if you've still got that, you're still going to lose weight, so that's fine. And even if you just balance it, like I said, at least you're not putting it on. So the three takeaways from today: eat well, omega-3 fatty acids, drink plenty of fluids, and try to maintain that calorie deficit. Track your food by doing that. To do that, start incorporating load bearing and strength exercise into your exercise program if you don't have that already. That's really, really important in this age, and get really good quality sleep. And that will help regulate your estrogen, which will help regulate your ghrelin, which will help regulate your leptin. So all of this is really complicated. There's lots of other stuff going on. The science behind it is absolutely insane. Don't worry about that. You don't need to know that. All you need to know is what you do to fix it on the other end in real life. And that is, like we said, calorie deficits, healthy food, nutrition, water, exercise, sleep. Menopause is unfortunately inevitable for 50% of the population. Some of us get away with it. These hormone balances are going to happen. You cannot stop them. Again, without going down the kind of medical HRT route, and I'm not going to open that can of worms. It's going to happen. So it's about how you manage that, the strategies that you have in place to maintain your weight or to lose weight during that time. Hopefully, some of the stuff that I've gone over today helps with that. I'm always here. I'm always available for messaging, for chat, whatever. So if you do have any issues, then please do drop me a line.